I'm not a normal individual.
If you can do this, you can do pretty much anything.
Winning's nice. You never would say anything bad about winning.
This is really, I think, what a lot of us were meant to do.
Peel away all the layers of the onion and get down to the center.
Oh, it's too much fun. It really is. We're not brutalizing ourselves.
Sierra Designs Raid the North Extreme. Sponsored by Salomon. They come to trek through the deepest of forest, paddle the crystal clear lakes of Ontario's vast Northland, endure some 30 hours on a mountain bike, climb to great heights, and navigate the waterways of Georgian Bay's North Channel by sea kayak. The terrain is unknown to most, but the experience is familiar. This is adventure racing, a survival game in the wilderness where the motto is to pack lightly, go like hell, and never give up. Today is Tuesday, day 1 of 5, beginning with a beautiful sunrise some 150 kilometers north of Elliott Lake, Ontario. There are 16 teams of 4 people, men and women combined. From here, they begin a 300-kilometer odyssey in the wilderness. The favorites are Team Salomon Eco Internet, Robert Nagel, Robin Benincasa, Ian Adamson, and Isaac Wilson. With wins at Eco Challenge, Raid Galois, and Beast of the East, their experience will count for much. But the spirit in all that come to compete makes adventure racing unique.
Great spirit. Thank you for all that you've shown us in this life. And we go out and kick some butt.
Oh man, we're feeling good. We're feeling tight. We're feeling right. We're feeling ready to go.
I tell my friends it's just like a camping trip from hell. Every race, at the beginning, there's always that couple moments of, I'm gonna hurl right now.
Well, I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Feeling ready to go. It's been a long wait.
We specifically set this race up to be for experienced teams. It's much more technical than our shorter races and a lot more technical than a lot of other races around North America. So experience is going to play a huge role in this one. I expect that by mid-second day, there's going to be quite a separation between the experienced teams and the newer teams.
3, 2, 1. 8:15 a.m. and the race is underway. The winners are expected to complete the course in approximately 3 days. Some will take 5, others will not finish. No one thinks about that now. The weather is good, everyone well rested, and the first leg of the race begins with a trek, expected to take less than 4 hours for the leaders to complete.
So you've taken the early lead. How do you feel?
Oh, the pressure is immense. As you can see, they're close on our tails, though. Yeah, the hounds are. We haven't dropped them yet. At our heels.
The first leg of the race is about a 20-kilometer trek. Teams are going to start on an old logging road, which is going to take them down to some very thick, difficult bush. It's going to be a tough push to get through there and down to the shore of 7 Mile Bay. It's part of Rocky Island Lake. From there, the smart teams are going to travel along the shoreline. Water levels are down. It's an easy run section. Other teams are going to try and take a more direct route through the bush. It's going to be very challenging and very slow going.
From a navigational perspective, I want to find terrain that's going to abuse the team the least amount. Sometimes that may be a little bit longer, but I'd rather go a little bit longer than bushwhack, for example. So just get there with the least amount of wear and tear.
Low water levels along 7 Mile Bay proved to be an early stroke of luck once the shoreline had been reached. Navigational skills were put to the test early in a relatively short trek through dense bush. But this will ultimately prove to be the element of the Northern Ontario experience that will separate the leaders from the pack. Team 12, Solomon Eco Internet, find themselves in second place, some 3 hours into the race, but pacing is their strategy. Others know that keeping Eco Internet in sight is an advantage that won't last for long. Team 1 is led by John Healy of Toronto. All have adventure racing experience. None have raced longer than 36 hours.
The type of athlete that's attracted to this sport is continually trying to push themselves and see just how far they can go until they're right looking over the edge. And not to sound too hokey, but I think Nietzsche said it best when he said, when you look into the abyss looks long into you. So that's what we're going to do over the next 5 days, just see how far we can go.
Approaching checkpoint 1, Team 14 El Faco Ba is in the lead. All 4 team members have traveled from Little Rock, Arkansas to compete in Raid the North.
Hi, Mom. Love you.
But not surprisingly, Team Solomon Eco Internet is only 1 minute behind. As expert adventure racers, they know it's teamwork that wins races.
Adventure racing is all about teams. It's not just one person out there trying to deal with fatigue, deal with navigational problems, deal with physical challenges. It's about 4 people working together to solve those problems.
4 hours and 2 minutes into the race, Team 14 El Faco Ba arrives at checkpoint 1.
12-17.
12-17.
This is the first of 5 transition points along the course, and from here the canoe section begins.
That white one looks new. That red one over there looks good. That red one right there looks good. That white one looks real good right there. That one, okay.
Team 12 carries their own paddles, a clue to their strength on the water. With Team 14 only moments ahead, the lead will soon change.
Is this a choose your own situation?
Right.
Teams are just arriving here to the transition to the canoe section. They're going to do about 40 kilometers of paddling down Rocky Island Lake and then into a series of portages through rivers and streams and some other lakes. It's going to be a very challenging section of navigation. Hopefully they get down there before dark, because going through there at night is going to be a real challenge.
Solomon Eco Internet quickly overtakes El Faco Ba. Their smooth strokes with kayak paddles allow them to glide easily through the water. With no one to chase, they are the pursued. They have found their rhythm. The goal is to keep it.
Adventure racing is easier than real life. I mean, it's like a slice of real life. For me, like the whole time I'm racing is a very easy time. I have a focus, I have a goal, I have a team synergy, you're all working towards the same thing. Your whole life is structured and important and meaningful.
Team 10, Lycos, has closed the gap on El Faco Ba, and they will arrive at checkpoint 2 simultaneously. The double-ended paddles are a personal choice which teams must carry through the trekking section, but the speed advantage in the canoes proves worthwhile. Solomon Eco Internet passes through checkpoint 2 with a slim 3-minute lead. The leaders should complete the canoe section in under 6 hours, but this is where teams will start to spread out. Iodine is used to purify water drawn directly from the lake. Hydration is paramount in any adventure race, increasingly important as the time and distance progresses. While the leaders depart checkpoint 2, team number 2, Spirit Canada, are just making the transition from trekking to paddling. The race is on for second, as El Faco Ba and Lycos have their passports validated at the second checkpoint. Meanwhile, team number 15, Great Lakes Adventure Racing, is over an hour behind, but the race is young. Steady progress and sharp navigation is key in the hours to come. Daylight is limited. The race now is to checkpoint 3 and the transition to mountain bikes before night falls.
You're always pushing yourself to the limits. So it's not just the physical limits, but there's a lot of mental limits you're pushing yourself to as well. So And that's what I do. It's just a pure, sheer enjoyment of pushing myself to the maximum physical and mental limits.
Portages like this one are challenging in the daylight, but take on a whole new level of difficulty under darkness. At Checkpoint 3, support crews await the arrival of their teams for the transition to the first of 2 mountain biking sections. Team Solomon Eco Internet, now on their way to Checkpoint 5, have made excellent progress on their bikes and opened their lead to over 90 minutes.
Adventure races have to be jacksable sports. You need to be good at biking skills, technical mountain biking, so that you can efficiently get through a course. You can be just an average biker, but really it'll take you far too long unless you accomplish some technical work.
Now on open road, the progress seems easy compared to the logging trails and dense bush that made up much of the ride to and from Checkpoint 4.
How is it so far? Good fun.
Solomon Eco Internet arrives at Checkpoint 5 just before 10 p.m. on Tuesday evening. But many others are just beginning their mountain biking journey.
That's on the map. We're going to go to the right. So, okay, keep going here for a bit.
Team 11, Nomads, departed Checkpoint 3 just after midnight, some 6 hours behind the leaders, whose arrival at Checkpoint 6 means an opportunity to rest, eat, and prepare for the most grueling section of the race yet to come.
Well, there's some sketchy spots up there.
We got a message back Robert's bag for him.
It's going to be difficult for some people tonight.
Mike, what do you want for dinner? Oh, where we got? How much? Give me a couple of good scoops.
Is this me?
Yeah. I need some more. Gatorade right here. We got one red left. Somebody want dessert?
While his teammates refuel, Robert Nagel, suffering some nausea, possibly from the pure iodine he has used for water purification, chooses to rest. Back at Checkpoint 3, Team 8, Adventure Rats, are the second last to come in off the water and would decide to rest for 3 hours before continuing. Starting fresh with only a few hours of darkness could give a psychological boost that would outweigh any time lost. Others press on in the darkness. Less than 24 hours into the race, sleep has not yet become an issue for many, but the night takes its toll. The gap between teams is beginning to widen. Solomon Eco Internet rests for 42 minutes at Checkpoint 6 before starting on an epic 24-hour journey on foot through thick forest and rugged terrain that rivals any in adventure racing. Teamwork and navigation will test these four to their limits. In fact, the adventure has only just begun. Day 2 brings good weather once again, which is a blessing as teams work their way through challenging terrain in the wilderness region north of Elliott Lake. Checkpoint 7 is an abandoned fire tower high on a hilltop some 4 to 5 hours from Checkpoint 6, where the arrival of daylight has brought renewed energy to those passing through.
Oh, it's been a blast. We're having a great time. We had a lot of mechanical problems yesterday. We had one bike break down completely, broken derailleur, broken chain tool. We ended up, our team captain Rob towed the person in question 15 kilometers.
I was really exhausted actually on the bikes. I really felt I had to lie down and sleep, and then the minute it got daylight I felt my energy coming back. So, yeah, it makes a big difference being in the daylight. Gives me more confidence.
Confidence also comes from the support crew, who are an important part of any successful race.
You sort of have to prioritize what's going to be most important, and one of the toughest things is you have no idea when your team's coming in. There's lots of judging what they're going to need and what's going to make them happy. I always try to hide a few treats or do something different to get a smile out of them at the transition and make them think positive about the whole experience. So you can sort of see the all-you-can-eat s'more has been laid out. You know, there's muffins, beef jerky, they're like salty things, and Pringles they can slide in the compartment. Those are some of the treats for this time. Chocolate-covered marzipan, Zero bars, sort of delicious. Whatever they are, chicken fajita wraps with tomatoes, that sort of stuff. And then they'll just tell me when they get in what they want, and I'll sort of throw it together and get it to them, and they pack it, and off they go. This is an 88 Suburban. It had actually originally been set up to do expedition touring. It's getting a little old, but it seems to see us through just about anything. There's quite a few things that don't work, but luckily it's so big that you can get by with a few things missing. I think actually the stickers are basically structural in this car now. It's just holding the rest together. I've never had anybody get remotely upset with me, or they're just all so happy because it's so much nicer than the alternative of what they've been going to.
Try and walk right down to the bottom.
Even for experienced people, it is very intimidating when you first look at something like this, because to the people that are up there right now looking down on us, we look very, very small. The entire length of this thing sits at about 630 feet. The top end there is 140 feet off the water. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are kind of going to sit there for a little while and look at it and go, do I really want to do this? And, really have to put faith into our rigging abilities and the rope itself.
Online! You're going to rappel right off the rope. It's 300 feet.
I see, so the rope runs out. Okay.
Yeah, and then keep your hand, make sure there's nothing going to get caught in the kootenai, and then just hold on to the back of it, not the front of the kootenai. Yeah. And maybe slow yourself down if you feel yourself going a little fast. Right? So sit down. Perfect. Nice work.
Okay.
Now that's the way you go.
I guess I have to beat it.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
Checkpoint 9 marks the beginning of a series of rope features. The first being a 600-foot zip line to a refreshing landing in Bay Lake. Team Salomon Eco Internet has now increased their lead to nearly 7 hours over Team 10, Lycos. Eco Internet's navigational skills have shone through since Checkpoint 6, where a combination of thick bush, rock formations, and numerous small lakes present navigational challenges to rival any adventure racing experience in the world. The placement of the rope section is strategic in terms of introducing a change of pace and adrenaline experience to lift the spirit of the athletes, who will find new confidence in the chance to momentarily take the weight off of tired feet.
Yeah. Just keep propelling. Go down. You just want to sit on that tank.
I needed the shower. That was the major bonus. And I have to thank Dave for thinking of us like that.
That's one of the things that's really important for us, is that we're enjoying ourselves when we're out there. And a little ride like this helps perk up the enjoyment for sure.
Checkpoint 10 is only 2 hours away as the team makes its way along the shore of Bay Lake.
Yeah, baby. Part 2 of my shower.
The second of 3 rope features involves a 210-foot climb up a sheer rock face overlooking Bay Lake. Eco Internet approaches the climb with confidence. In addition to the thrill and challenge of the ascent, they'll be rewarded with a $1 million view.
get like right underneath me? Is that? Okay, I got no skin on the inside of my leg now. Thanks. Okay. Okay. Adventure racing is probably only about 40% physical, and the rest is kind of mental and spiritual and pushing through pain. And it really is the best combination of everything a human being has, using all those abilities wrapped up in one and putting it into an adventure race. And that's what really draws me to it.
Okay, good luck. Let's go, guys.
We go like that way, right?
It is now just after 5 p.m. on Wednesday. Team Solomon Eco Internet starts on a 2-hour trek towards Checkpoint 11. A 150-foot rappel is the final rope feature. Eco Internet will complete the rope section in daylight, another psychological advantage that helps them maintain their blistering pace relative to the rest of the field.
Whoa, that's kind of cool.
Below the rappel is a scree-littered slope where caution is required on the unstable rock that leads to the water's edge. Robin Benincasa is tired, but focused. Checkpoint 12 presents an opportunity to rest, but that is still another 7 to 8 hours away. The race is not half over yet, and the light breeze carries a message that says, never give up. Brave the North Extreme Day 3. Team Solomon Eco Internet is well into the second mountain biking portion of the 300-kilometer course. Barring disaster, their lead is unlikely to be challenged. The question now is, how strongly will they finish? During the night, Eco Internet passed through the town of Elliott Lake in checkpoint number 12, which marks the halfway point in the race. Elliott Lake is the host community for the event and a town on the move in Ontario's Northland.
And it all starts